I'll tell about those ancient days, ere history penetrates the haze, ere human eyes were there to gaze, when earth was all primeval, and worms and germs and rocks and sod were ready at the slightest nod of quite an inexperienced God to go into upheaval. Not even Adam had appeared. Sin was nothing to be feared. This was before all men were queered by apple-eating ladies. In fact, in those days, don't forget, the Lord had made those devils yet. Up to then had never met a fit recruit for Hades. This is AABACCBD rhyme scheme. There was no mammoth, fish, or seal. No Pepsodent or movie reel, no Buick, Bean, or Bendix, no pterodactyls. No fudge, no Lux, no Sal Hepatica or ducks, no Nazis, communists, or clucks, no man, and no appendix. Bendix, appendix. Well, in that very distant day in June, July, or August, say, two living specks of matter lay boop, boop, in Egypt or Samoa. Two earless, eyeless, chinless specks, boop, boop, with neither craniums nor necks nor any sign of soul or sex. In short, two protozoa, boop, boop. Now, organisms of this kind are rather flimsily designed with neither skin nor bones to bind the parts to one another. So when the larger of these two went rolling into pastures new, she, pow, knocked her plasm all askew, enveloping her brother well. Never mollusk, worm, or slug, or animalculus, or bug had hitherto enjoyed a hug. God wasn't sentimental. He planned no species to reveal the slightest hint of sex appeal. And yet this hug appeared too real to call it accidental. Approaching closer to observe, wah, 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 God thought he saw a certain verve, a quickening of plasmic nerve, unquestionably striking. The sky, the sun, the sea, the land were things the Lord could understand. But here was something quite unplanned and scarcely to his liking. Judicially, he held his ire, deciding he'd first inquire, what set those cells afire? In ways uncontemplated. Neither had a mouth or beak, therefore neither one could speak. Our language was the same as Greek. Thus Greek originated. Alas, I forgot to state, God early had invented fate. It now was definitely late to check the spreading virus. Though both were silent, well, he knew his worst suspicions had come true. It was evident the two were mutually desirous. To be explicit and exact, from that day on, the cards were stacked. The germ of love became a fact, embedded in their plasm. With lightning flash and thunder roll, an angry God demanded toll. So he dug a hellish hole and thrust them in the chasm. The spawn of life spread far and wide. The species grew and multiplied. For hundreds lived, though thousands died. God wept within his portals. Came alligators, birds, and dogs, and elephants, and flies, and frogs, and beetles, and rolling stones, and hogs, and anthropoids, and mortals. And ever since that fateful day, when boop, boop, protozoa found a way to multiply our earthly clay, they handed us a rebus, whatever that is. For though we've discarded gills for all kinds of little pills, we're far more surfeited with ills than when we were boop, boop, amoebas. Think of what we might have been without acid and gin and organic broccoli. All that sin, that hurt beyond all measure. And yet, I take a certain pride in that ancestral boop, boop, groom and bride, who in some ways I'm satisfied made hell on earth a pleasure. Thank you.